Now, the rational evidence based on the universal witnesses regarding God attributes. We will discuss just now the four options that we talked about in the introduction of this exam. Those options. And if our Creator and we have the same or share the same name of the quality, are they identical to each other? Or is the quality is we and him have the same quality, meaning and modality, or have the same meaning of the quality, no, not modality, or we and him have just the same name of the quality without meaning and modality. We will discuss those four options based on what the universal witnesses. Now, you couldn't do resemble analogy or resembling analogy or resemblance analogy regarding God's attributes. You will consider photo for him based on shareable same of the quality with us. Means you couldn't like him or liken him to his creatures or to any part of his creatures. You couldn't say that God is a branch and you are original. For example, his face and your face is original and his face is identical, and so on. You couldn't do that because you and him have the same name of the quality face. You couldn't do his essence as a branch and your essence and original and make analogy between you and him. Why? Because, as we mentioned before, we haven't seen the modality of his quality. See the hyena or the hyena examples. First, a number of the universal witnesses. Why? Because, as we mentioned before, we haven't seen the modality of his equality. So, we couldn't do analogy or resemble analogy between we and him. And to clarify this, if I say to you, it is a big elephant, the question is, could you now imagine a big bird or a big bird? If the elephant and bird have the same quality, big, the answer is no. And could you say that there is no big elephant because it means elephant-like pair if they have the same quality? The answer is no. And they are not identical, and we couldn't say that one of them has not or has not this quality. All the truth is that there is a big elephant according to his species. That's yes, that's okay. And we say every single property regarding our God, it's according to his essence. It's not regarding to his creatures. It's special for him. So number one, they are not identical to each other. Essence, God essence, and we are not identical to each other as essence or as a part of essence, completely different. Now, why? Because we haven't seen the modality of his equality, and this condition, it's a necessary condition to make or to do resemble analogy. See the hyena example. Now, you couldn't do universal analogy regarding God attributes. The second option, modality, based on shareable the name of the quality between him and us, means you could liken his modality of quality. See the ears example. Why? Because, as we mentioned before, to do the universal analogy, we need to see both of them completely. So you couldn't say that the quality of one of them is identical, completely identical to other, unless if you see both or them both. Example to clarify it. Every person talk by his tongue. This modality, which our God make it as rules between us. Talk by tongue. But rules doesn't relate to him. He make it as a rules between us, but it doesn't relate to him. Everyone exists is created by him, but the rules of creation doesn't relate to him. So if the landlord, the owner, say to the security of the company, everyone must show the card before enter the company. But what did you say? If the security applied the rules on the landlord or the owner, what will happen? He will say, this, I put the rules, but you couldn't apply the rules on me. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. Now, to our God is full perfection of examples. Now, number two, as we mentioned, we couldn't say that we and our God have the meaning, the same meaning and modality of the quality. Number three, We couldn't do analogy or universal analogy between us and him. Number 3. Yes. You couldn't use your mind to do analogy regarding God's attributes. You can understand meaning to deal with him, not to analyze him. Every property God share with you, or every name of property God share with you, name and meaning. It's perfection related to him and imperfection related to you. So we accept number 3. Why? Because we say that number 1 is false, number 2 is false, based on rational, based on universal witnesses, and now we say that meaning of the quality, rational mind or rational evidence accepted meaning. Why? Because when I say the name, so I mean what I say. Yes. So the name and meaning. Okay. Why we couldn't say we accept the name without meaning? Because the name without meaning, that means every single person will understand it as he wants. As Allah said, you couldn't say that the name of the quality is without meaning, because our Lord ordered us to do reflection in the Quran. Allah said in the Quran, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Tadabbur al-Quran, it's to do reflection about the name of the words, of the God words. How could you do reflection about the God words if you couldn't understand meaning? So you couldn't do reflection about our Lord words unless if you know its meaning or their meaning. So that means all words in the Quran have a meaning. All words in the Quran have meaning. So we couldn't accept number 3, the same name of the quality without meaning or modality. Why? Because when I say the name without meaning, it's not acceptable. If your father say to you, go to the park, or go to the park, and then you go to the park, and then why you go to the park? His father asks. You will say, you say go to the park. He said, no, I said go to the park, but I don't mean that. How you don't mean that? You say go to the park, and when you say words, you mean what you say. But how you will go to the park, I didn't mention, or your father don't or didn't mention that. Therefore, Al-Imam Malik rahimahullah say about one quality of our Lord. say its meaning, we know the meaning, we know the name, but we don't know how or the modality, and you couldn't ask about the modality. والسؤال عنه بدعة. بدعة, I don't know that's in English, but it's something not related to you. Yes. Now, the creator world which match the universal evidence and rational, or universal witnesses and rational evidence. Now we will end with this words. Listen to Allah, how our Lord put the axioms for our mind, or for our cognitive mind, to do not analogy about him. Number, the first verse, Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 17. Allah says, can the one who creates be equal to those who don't? أفمن يخلق كمن لا يخلق. Allah says, Allah said here, see the rational mind, or see the rational mind, and or see the rational evidence and universal witnesses, and you will get a result that is a big difference between creator and the creature. So Allah said, your mind, based on the rational evidence and universal witnesses, say that no analogy between the Lord and you. And Allah said, first, your rational or universal witnesses will say that. Second, Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 60, Allah said, to those who disbelieve in the hereafter belong all evil quality. What does that mean? Evil quality that related their cognitive mind. Allah said they will بأن لهم مثل السوء. مثل السوء, that means bad thinking, bad cognitive mind, bad brain. Why? Because those disbelievers used their mind, their brain, their cognitive mind, to understand or to make equalization between material world and immortal world. So when they say, or when they see that bones without sky will die, and then comparing between this life and how our God will return back us after life. So make resembling analogy between here and hereafter, but it's completely wrong. Why? Because Allah said, to created you, first one, it's more difficult to return you back after life. And He do that. He do what is the more difficult. So it's so easy to return you back. Allah said, those who use their cognitive mind in false way, they have evil quality or bad cognitive mind. Allah said here, whereas to Allah belong the finest attributes, and He is Almighty, all-wise. Allah said, finest to our Lord belong the finest attributes. When He share with you the name of the quality, what does it mean? It means that full perfection for the quality belong to Allah, and imperfection quality belong to you. And that Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said about that, the qiyasul awla, when you share with your Lord the same name of the quality, that special analogy in Arabic language, qiyasul awla, means full perfection for him and imperfection for you. You have meaning, but full perfection regarding modality and photo, shape, and imperfection for you regarding modality and shape or photo. So when Allah share with you the name of the quality, so the finest attribute is for Him, full perfection for Him and imperfection for you. Allah said in the Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 74. Allah said, don't set up co-equals to Allah. Don't do resembling analogy regarding Him. Don't do universal analogy regarding Him. Allah said, don't set up equals to Allah in your mind, modality, in His modality or photo. In the Surah As-Saffat, chapter 37, verse 180, Allah said, glorified is your Lord, the Lord of honor and power, above what they claim. I think this translation it's not matched to Arabic language. In Arabic language, say, سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون. عما يصفون means what they describe the Lord in His mind. Describe the Lord in His mind, or do analogy about the Lord in their mind, that Allah considered to be exalted, ينزه نفسه, to be exalted for whatever your mind does as analogy about Him. Allah said, Subhana Rabbika. Allah is so far. Allah is be exalted about or above what you do in your mind as analogy, resembling analogy, or witnesses or universal analogy about Him in your mind. So you couldn't do resembling analogy, identical Him to any person. You couldn't do a universal analogy to make His quality identical, full identical to any equality of prescribed person, modality, meaning, name. You can just affirm the name of the quality and the meaning of the quality, but the modality, it's something special to him. Glory be to Allah. Ask him for forgiveness. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.